Yes. Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 3 of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So we are going to meet the sons of Ragnar in tonight's episode, and hope you'll join me on a little journey to the outskirts of Mercia. So away we go. Now, if there's any issues with sound quality or things like that, do please say something to me, because, kind of do this blind a little bit, to say the least. Now, we're going to meet Sigurd. He is in Northwest in a town called Repton that is up in Mercia, one of the historic kingdoms of England, which will frankly cease to exist shortly after we get there. This is one of the area that I actually got a chance to test play about a month ago now. So I have actually already played this entire section right here. So it won't be as much of a surprise for me, but I do have some good commentary to go with it because I've been wanting to make a video about this part and frankly just haven't had the time to do so. Hi there, everybody. Welcome this evening. So we'll kind of start riding along through the forest of England here, moving towards the next objective. Let's see how far away that actually is, because as I recall, it's quite a distance, and it is. Now, along the way right there, you'll notice the typical high vantage points have appeared, and the advantage of them in this game is they're also fast travel points. So, yeah, super useful way of getting around the world. And we're going there, so I need to make a hard left. But yeah, this game's been doing pretty well so far. It's been nice to see that other people have enjoyed it as much as I have. It's always gratifying to see I'm not the only person enjoying a game. I'm not completely talking out of my butt. So always pleasant to see. Now, your natural nature and fauna of England on display here with deer and foxes and rabbits and things like that. There are some wolves and bears, I believe, as well, because this is much earlier in England's history, and they do still exist here during this era. Although, obviously, in the modern era, they have been completely wiped out. So, along the same note, apparently wolves are being introduced into Colorado based off a new vote recently. Because, hey, there's no faster way of restoring balance to an ecosystem than getting predators back into it. And obsidian. Destroy and loot outcroppings to gather resources. Cool. So obsidian is a volcanic stone. You can see it, actually, is one of the first things ever really used for weaponry and stuff like that. If you ever look at a lot of Incan and Mayan... Yeah, buddy, you move quick, but not quick enough. You know, I whiffed it, that's fine. I know I have a fox lover in chat, and I don't think I'd be forgiven if I shot the fox, so I may have purposely pulled that shot. Fun fact, the leading accidental cause in death up until the modern era was drowning. There are tons of stories in medieval England, though you wouldn't expect it. Oh, you can float. I'm always impressed when people add in a little bit of a sort of a float mechanic. You'll notice the river has something of a current right here. I mean, it's completely unnecessary, but I love that when they put it in there, the idea that the river does have some sort of weight and body to it right there. But yeah, the leading cause of death in the Middle Ages, accidental death anyway, was drowning. There are tons of stories of people, like, you know, a child would start to drown, a father would go in to try and help them, and then like a sister would go in, and entire families would drown at once. I mean, it's tragic, but if you do not know how to swim, you really should learn how to swim. I'll just put it that way. That is something that continues to come up even today. There was a story in my local town not 2 months ago. Same thing happened, which is a real shame. So this is some of the forgotten Roman architecture inside the game. You'll notice it's got these sort of old Roman ruins. Now, this game got a little bit of flack early on. They're like, oh man, this is way too grandiose. But it's like, no, I mean, it's pretty good. You can see, notice right here, you got the layering of the bricks and things like that. The Roman architecture was reused by the Saxons and all the way through the early Middle Ages and the Normans. I mean, they basically just reoccupied these existing sites. They're sort of left around. And obviously the statues and things like that are a bit bigger than they would have been in reality, but still it's nice to see them represented here. If you guys have any questions about the games or a question about Viking era history, I'm happy to talk to you guys about it. That's sort of what I'm here for. For those that don't know, my background is in archaeology and screen media. I was initially trained as an archaeologist, and then realized that basically nobody gets information from archaeology papers. So I was like, well, let's switch it over to TV and learn how to actually make videos about all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, from there I kind of specialized in depictions of medieval combat, specifically early medieval combat, and became increasingly drawn to the Battle of Hastings specifically, which is about 200 years after this event. But a lot of especially the names and the armor and, it all kind of relates back together, to say the least. Is Hadrian's Wall in the game? I don't know. I haven't been that far north yet, but I personally suspect it's probably the northern border. If you take a look at the map, it goes all the way to Northumbria, and you get that nice little straight line right there, which implies to me it's probably Hadrian's Wall, which should be up above York, all that kind of fun stuff. Now you'll notice England is a bit compacted here. Obviously Hadrian's Wall wouldn't be quite that close to York, but same kind of idea. Let's see, that's where we're going there. So let's an all-terrain horse moving around there. Yeah, the water there is pretty shallow. They have added a swim mechanic into the game where you can train your horse now. It's one of those things you can kind of spend money on. And apparently you can make your horse run a little faster, and you can make your horse swim through the water, which is something horses can do. You don't think about it, that's something especially... Oh man, I may have left ore at the previous one. That would have sucked. Especially cowboys. If you watch cowboy movies, you'll see them on the back of horses, and the horses will swim in the rivers with them on it. It's kind of interesting to see for the first time, realizing a horse can actually still support a rider even when they're swimming. And there is some little gold item right here that I'm really curious about. So there's 3 different types of dots on these maps if you haven't played the game yet. There's gold dots, blue dots, and white dots. Now white dots is going to be interesting side quests, things like that. Gold dots is going to be really fancy schmancy items, and blue dots are going to be like... I don't remember what blue dots are. It was something I wasn't impressed by. I remember that. I was like, meh, maybe not the blue dot. Right here, what am I seeing here? So there's a camp of something, that's why it's red, and looks to be a lovely little town. Ooh, goodness. Great opportunity to talk about medieval hydrology. So we got a little water shaft coming down through here to a mill town. Looks like we got the mill turning. Exciting. I wonder if this is a grain mill or if it's a blacksmithing site. Both those were used. So this basic huge water wheel right here would have been used to turn a crankshaft on the inside. Either is this a guy, bad guy, good guy? He doesn't care guy. He's the best kind of guy. He just doesn't care. I'm just going to sneak right past him. I'm going to sneak right in here and then look at a water wheel on the inside. And... well, the answer is it's nothing. There should be a large amount of machinery right here if this was a functioning windmill. There'd be a log sticking out of the wall which would attach to basically a toothed mechanism which would then turn something else and either raise and drop a hammer for pounding out metals, or it would be attached to a wheel which would then grind things. But in this case, that is a purely cosmetic water wheel, which is actually somewhat surprising. That's a rather weird oversight on Ubisoft's part. I think they're pretty good about that sort of stuff, because you can see right here where it would normally attach and go through the wall I was just in. Because, I mean, yeah, all this looks fantastic, you definitely, reclaimed walls, all that, but the water wheel isn't actually attached to anything. Sort of off when you think about it. It took all the time to model that and then forgot that the water wheel actually does something, and you just sit there and spin for the hell of it. Question: I've heard it said that Vikings would commonly use axes due to them being a multi-use tool, and swords because it was a good weapon. But were pickaxes or something similar used? So axes were used more commonly than swords, just due to availability. Like, you know, an axe is, you know, a hunk of steel that's shaped roughly like a triangle, and then they just kind of put an edge on it. There's nothing really fancy about an axe. People use them for felling wood. They're just ubiquitous. So the reason axes are so common in graves and also Viking stories is, I mean, everybody's got an axe on them. And when you need to chop wood or chop a guy, it's the same utility for the most part. Swords, on the other hand, are much, much rarer. Like, you know, I'd say like 20 to 1. I don't actually know the number off the top of my head. I do apologize, but they're not nearly as prevalent, to say the least. Pickaxes, things like that. The Vikings, in both cases, axes and spears would have been a secondary weapon. Primary weapon is always a spear. So they're always got something they're using as a javelin to throw, or they are... What's that barrel? Oh, there are barrels right there. There's like special barrels? Oh, there's supplies. Ooh, it's upgrading my town. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. Keep on track. You got this. I got this. Get excited about supplies and upgrading my town. Yeah, so spears were kind of the primary weapon at the time. You know, they'd either throw them or stab at them or whatever else. The axes and swords were secondary weapons because you always want to keep the enemy as, you know, far from you as possible when you were doing stuff like this. They did have additional weapons like the Athgeir, which we're actually not entirely sure what it is, but basically it's like a spear sword, might be the best way to describe it. It's sort of like a, almost like a poleaxe is kind of how people think it might have been, like a 4-foot shaft with a sort of like long sword on the end of it. Weird as that sounds, sort of interesting there. But other weapons, they used something similar to like a Dane axe, which a Dane axe is in this game, a big two-handed axe with about 5-foot handle on it. Pickaxes and things like that weren't really necessary in the period in a weird sort of way. Like a pickaxe is useful in later areas because you can punch through armor and things. But in this area, it's... Oh, that horse can't swim yet. You know what? I feel like I deserve that. You know, you go get eaten by wolves. You deserve that. I mean, really, you threw me in the river. Yeah, there are spears inside this game, and my understanding is that the larger weapons, and spears do count as larger weapons in this game, can be wielded in one hand later on as you unlock additional skills. So I'm eager to try out a stance that uses a shield and a spear at some point, which I think could be really cool. Let's see how that works out. Slings would be pretty common. Any kind of like, I mean, typically the Vikings were more like archery as opposed to slings. Weirdly enough, like, you know, once they figured out archery, there wasn't a whole lot of reason for them to stick with slings. The skill level's a little higher than bows, so most people, once they kind of switch over to archery, don't really go back again. Is that a wolf attacking me? Oh man, it is. That is a PO. Oh, bobcat. That is a... Whoa, that is a skull level bobcat. That bobcat wants to kill me. He wants to kill me so good. Here, look, man, kill the deer instead. Ignore me. Man, that's a really dangerous bobcat. Jeez. I don't know where I've wandered right now that suddenly I'm encountering guys like that. Jeez. Gone into a region I wasn't supposed to go to yet. I forgot about this game being slightly leveled. Something like Witcher, you know, there's areas they kind of want you to wander into first. But yeah, we're heading to Repton, which was one of the bases of the Viking army early on. Yeah, man, YouTube was down worldwide. That wasn't just you. That was a global outage of YouTube for 90 minutes, which I imagine somebody's going to lose their job over that one. I was actually going to start streaming about 30 minutes ago, and I was like, oh, well, YouTube is down. Guess I won't. You're going to throw me again, unless this is a ford. Is this a ford? This may be a ford. Let's see. It is! Awesome, yeah. So, fording the rivers, if you guys ever played Oregon Trail back in the day, super duper important, as you noticed a moment ago, because if you have just shallow enough water, you can just ride your horse across, or walk, as opposed to, you know, being thrown and all drowned. Is the game less grindy than Odyssey? I heard they removed leveling. There are levels. I'm level 15, technically. It hasn't really come up where in the main quest I haven't been high enough level yet. I think they definitely took that critique to heart, and they made it so you can just sort of play through the main quest if you wanted to, frankly. People definitely responded to that in a negative way. So, it's something I think they've addressed personally. Well, that man's being tortured. I know why already, but we'll go through a second. Ooh, lovely stained glass right there. Very early stained glass, too. It's very small. Now, that right there, that stained glass It's definitely a little too early for this period. It's still pretty, though. These big blocks of stained glass and leaded glass in general have been around since Roman times. The editing patterns haven't really caught on too much. Sorry, I want to get this sync point before I go anywhere, just because I know I have to come back here later. So I might as well kind of take care of it now. Yeah, in general, I haven't found it grindy. I've been finding there's fun stuff to do. The grindiness as far as quest goes, like where you have to be high enough level to do a certain thing, I haven't encountered so far. Now, there are things you can sort of grind out. You got to get supplies to get your town. You can have supplies to upgrade your abilities, stuff like that. I mean, there's definitely things to be spending resources on, I'll put it that way. What do you mean, a woman is a playable character? Like, were there female Vikings? I don't know where the hay is. Is that the hay? I think that's the hay. I always suck at these because if you choose wrong, you just jump to your death. That looks right. Oh, thank goodness. I think you two just. Oh no. Yeah, about not being historically accurate. My personal opinion, and based on the research that I've seen, yeah, no, there were female Vikings. I mean, there are burials that have been discovered time and again. I mean, I can think of at least 3 offhand. There's a really great National Geographic special currently on Disney Plus about this, if you're interested. But we're going to pause on that for a moment because you're about to meet Ivar for the first time.
Who stands before Ivar Ragnarson? Are you Sigurd Drenger? Igor!
Eivor. If you keep that up, we'll stain the floors.
The place could use some color.
Who are they?
All spies. Dressed to look the part of a peasant. Got feisty. Pitchfork. From this rabid little one. Was a time when you met and slew your enemy on the field before they could dream of things like sending spies!
For those not in the know, Ivar loved torturing Christians.
Deals.
He was really, really
Not
keen
my
on
thing.
it.
I figured.
I love them whipped, weeping, and reeking of piss. Hey! Good boy. You're free, Saxon piggy, to run amok through the Mercian fields.
I would have let him down easy.
Follow me. I'll give you the tour.
Yeah, for those who have never
What do you
encountered
call this
Ivar or
place?
Ivar, or
I
however they
call
might
it
pronounce
the
it here,
shithole.
if you've ever seen Vikings, the TV
Ragnar.
show, and of
Their
course
most
later in Norse
revered
mythology,
kings are buried below
he
the church.
hasn't. He's a crypt.
Imagine their
He
weeping when we
basically
drove them out.
his bottom legs don't
Plunged
work
your
in those
knife deep
versions.
into the heart of
He
his
basically has some
kingdom.
sort of condition
That is
where
right. You've got a
he
number
has
of
to be
Saxon
carried
nobles
around
lined
according to
up
later
with lips
mythology. Now,
puckered,
whether or
ready
not
to
this
kiss
is
our asses.
true or an
The
exaggeration
only
of some sort of
holdout is
feature later on in
King
life,
Fulgrim
people
and
don't
his
know.
Warthane,
But I mean, that
Beowulf.
is sort of how people
But
know him. He's
my
remembered as a
brother
grand
is
strategist,
doing a
not as
plan to
a,
deal with them.
I take it
feisty
that's where
warrior
we'll
we're
find
seeing
my
right here.
brother.
Right.
Right.
Talkers they are, Uber.
Somebody was asking a
Sigurd.
moment ago about
I'd want to dig the wax
Viking
from your
religion.
ears.
Vikings in general were sort of in the Norse, specifically, as a larger culture, were pretty much cultural chameleons. Wherever they went, they adopted a lot of the local customs. The Kievan Rus, or the Vikings that went to eastwards into Russia and encountered the Rus, started adopting their styles of dress. The ones that go to Constantinople become the Varangian Guard, and adopt similar Byzantine style dress. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to hear they also converted to anything from Islam to Christianity to whatever they happen to encounter along the way.
You have the king on his heels because of me,
intermarried
because of
and
my men,
live
for
locally.
which you were paid. But
God,
that
that is
price does not change because you have
seriously
caught
messed
a
up,
whiff of our Hacksilver hoard.
You forget I am a sellsword. I ask what I please, and I take what I'm owed.
If I wanted to hear you talk shit, I'd gouge out your tongue and shove it up your ass. Now fuck off.
Haggling over silver is a bad look for the son of Ragnar Lothbrok. But worry not, Uba. I have the warriors you need.
If this is one of them, my worries have vanished.
Eivor, Wolf-Kissed, you have come at
I'll turn
just the
myself
right
up a
time.
little bit.
Uba and Ivar here are hunting a king.
And when we've caught him, we mean to crown another. Our dear Thane Shellwolf here.
It's not a role I begged for, but it's what Mercia needs just now. A man to fairly rule both Saxons and Danes.
Just turn my volume up a little bit. Hopefully this is a little better for people. Are you fit to rule a kingdom? Viking rule to a Saxon king, or the current king will want your head? Yeah, let's be honest. This guy's a
Sounds
puppet.
like you'll be a king in name only. A puppet.
I am doing my part. I hope you have come to do yours. We're going to need all the help we can get.
I find that guy's left eye really interesting. Like, he was clearly hit
King
across
has
the side of the
refused
face at
our
some
offers
point,
of
and so his
peace.
left eye has been swollen over and is slightly
Shellwolf
lazy
means to
because of it.
change
It's a very interesting
There'll be a
detail.
new king for a new England.
You also
Now,
notice instantly right
Ulrich
off the
is
bat
holding
that his
up his
costume and
fortress
dress are
Tamworth,
completely
making a
different than the
final
two guys
stand.
on the side of him here.
Another shithole.
So
Only further
you'll start to
south.
see a difference
We've
between
held
the
a siege
Danes
there
and the
for
Norse
weeks
as
to
far
no
as
effect.
costuming goes as well. So this is supposed to
no
be
more
Uba,
knocking.
who is,
Now we back
you know,
the gate to
one of the
splinters.
few sons of Ragnar that has no
Tamworth,
historical anecdotes. Like, there's just nothing really
Crown Shellwolf,
going on with him as far as like
Hamburg,
historical
Shire is
records. He
ours.
just kind of pops in the stories
And
later.
Mercia soon
No, not really
after.
king of anything. Is sort of a
Yes.
supporting character,
Remove.
ironically. But the dress
I
this
cannot
guy's in right
stress
here
that
really
enough.
is, you know, obviously
Uhtred
early
is not
medieval,
to
like a
be
couple
harmed.
hundred years later.
My
But they're trying to
legitimacy
show
as
like an
king
opulence and
hangs on
difference
this
between
one
them. But
simple
you know,
fact.
even in costuming, they'd be pretty similar. But they would obviously, I think, you could tell the two apart because they seem to have been tell each other
Every
apart.
victory
Now, whether
needs
it's
to
not
be
even
marked
quite so
by the
obvious is something else
slaughter of the
entirely.
king.
But it is much better.
His request is fair, Ivar, and we will honor it.
Can we trust Ceolwulf or Ceolwulf? Ceolwulf's approach is smart. I mean, can you trust anybody that's selling out their own kingdom?
Beowulf betrayed his present king. Maybe tomorrow he betrays us too. Why trust him?
How can I answer that with any hope that you'd believe me? I only want what is best for the people of Mercia. And I want what's best for my son. In Burgred's Mercia, where Danes and Saxons murder one another daily, it's not possible.
This is a good plan, brother. I am ready for the coming fight.
I do find it interesting that they don't try and excuse the fact they're just, you know, toppling a kingdom and putting their own puppet in place. It's not necessarily a better plan, but it is one that definitely benefits them, and they don't seem to
This man in
try and
stone
hide behind
stone,
that.
and you will have it. I swear.
Interesting question from Forge Master Loki. In history, was it more common for weapons to be looted, forged from local craftsmen, or inherited from family, or was this not really a matter to them? But all three. It really depends on circumstance. So if you are a warrior and you are sworn to a local lord, one of the first things that happen when you swear to the lord is that he provides you with arms and armor, you know. But if you are taking your father's place as a similar position, well, then you may inherit your father's arm and armor, assuming it's still in good condition. Now, kings, local lords, things like that is something else entirely. Now, their stuff is always going to be brand new. You don't think about it as redistribution of wealth, but basically, by paying the local craftsman, by paying the local tailor, by paying these local people, they are improving their own local economy, because they're redistributing the wealth that they've gained and putting it about around them. So it's kind of a patronage system in a way, but you know, they are the industry of a town.
I'll gather my things and meet you in Tamworth as soon as it's over.
Yeah, I love his like little neck cowl there. I don't know, it's not really accurate for the period, but it's interesting as far as the striping goes. You know, you can see the gold chains and stuff like that, and those actually pretty are accurate. You know, your belts, things like that haven't really survived, but he is carrying a sax. That's that long single-edged knife you'll see right there, and that is where the Saxons get their name. Now, it was still pretty much just a common, almost like a hunting knife or utility knife. You see something similar with what the samurai carried every day with their little, what was it, a tanto? Was it tanto? Did I get that right? Tanto.
I remember this in the slightest.
Oh, you don't remember that one? Sorry. I saw my wife over in the corner over there. Yeah, all right, let's see what a little note is. K.O. Wolf's Journal. Lord, forgive me for what I am about to do. To side with pagans, turn my back on my king. Not the actions of a good Christian. We have seen pain, anguish, and necessary death. Burgard is waging this war. I will not allow this, the future of Mercia. So, at least according to this note laying in the corner, he is obviously pretending, or at least thinks that he's doing the right thing. And that, I think, is taken from the Book of Kells, which is roughly from this period. Illuminated manuscripts are very common during this era. And when they say illuminated, they mean there was a fancy drawing on them. The first letter would always be like a really fancy drawing, which is what you're seeing right there. Oh, that was a heck of a way to go under a table. For those that haven't seen it yet, I'll switch over to Guy Ivor, just so you guys can see the difference right there and like how things go. Come on. And from what I've been able to tell, there's very little difference between the two, even if you let the Animus select. Apparently, it just unlocks additional romance options, so if someone isn't interested in Guy Eivor, they might be interested in Lady Eivor, so it lets you kind of bop back and forth between the two. He needs more skulls. I think talk about the Wasinski. Blood Eagle. Oh, dude, Blood Eagles. I have not seen a Blood Eagle yet in this game, but if you don't know, Ivar is definitely famous for them. When Ivar and his brothers came to England, according to myth and legend, there's no reason to really suspect this is wrong, they came to avenge their father, and one of the things they did is they pretty much went around to all the kings that they accused of their father's death and did nasty things to them. I think it was the king of East Anglia that they martyred, Edmund the Martyr. You know, it was one of their first encounters, theoretically, with a Christian individual, especially a Christian king, and so, you know, they was claiming about an all-powerful God, and he said, well, will your God protect you from arrows? So they tied him to a post and shot him with a bunch of arrows, and he didn't live. But he is a martyr now, and I think he's actually not a saint, but he is a martyr. And later on, they did the same thing with the king of, well, not the same thing, but very something similar to the king of Northumbria, where they did a blood eagle to him. Now, whether or not the blood eagle exists is something else entirely. This is Flighting, by the way. This is the rap battle. So if you guys haven't seen the rap battle yet, I love this thing. It's so much fun.
Impressed that you manage both.
Oh yeah, I'll take you on.
Brilliant. Some flighting spirit.
That is a short dude on the left with very blue eyes. I'm going to bet big. I mean, you got a chump's face, let's be honest right here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let us begin.
I have sparred against champions and bested each one.
There's like, oh, be such a braggart, we'll surely be fine. It's just like finding the last word in a basic rhyme. It's not even... It's still an interesting little fun game, though, because you got to read pretty quick.
You're a misfit, a half-wit, a foolish old grouse.
You're no better than a rat that I would evict from my house.
You're no better than a rat that I would evict from my house.
No sense of timing.
This
one is no match for you, young elf.
What? Oh, I guess I got the meter wrong right there. Sorry about that. Master of verse. Your rhyming is worse.
Your pride is appalling.
It's like green eggs and ham in a way.
Got you there, young Irv.
Ha! I'm impressed. You are as sharp as that axe on your belt.
As promised, I will have my winnings now.
Take the gold. You've earned it.
Apparently only got 3 rounds. Good thing I got the second one right. Yeah, so I wish Viking Hot Topic, I wish Hot Topic was this nice. You'll notice that his under tunic is probably correct for the period as far as colors go. He even has a nice blue tunic on under there with some red and gray trim and then some red embroidery around it. Now the fur vest on top of it, I mean, wouldn't be out of character as far as warmth goes, but the additional leather accessories like the belt and stuff like that does make it a little bit unwieldy and excessive. So, you know, as far as design goes, it could be worse. Let's see. Viking wrote myth, poetry, bloody, it was going to happen at least once. Yeah, that's kind of my feeling about it as well. You know, it's one of those things, the Vikings, or, you know, the Norse poets and things say the Blood Eagle happened. So either we believe them or we don't. Now, if we believe the other things they've said, well, then there's no reason not to suspect that that may have happened as well. You know, it's definitely one of those situations you can't really pick and choose just because it seems unsightly to you. But for those not aware, the Blood Eagle is where they would chop someone at the back on each side of the spine and then pull the lungs out and then flop them over like wings.
Eivor, is your axe sharpened?
I'm ready for the spear din.
And the thunder of shields, yes. It's good to have you with us.
To fight beside such legends is an honor. I've only heard tales of your conquests. Now I get to live them.
We'll weave our sagas together, thread upon thread.
Come on, boy. We'll forge a man from your softness, hammered on the anvil of
One does
war.
not need to fight to be
Move! Move!
Calm, Ivar. The fight's not here.
Aye. The fight is nowhere to be found in this boy.
A boy who happens
So
to be
someone just asked on
Ceolwulf's
there,
son.
is there a setting
Why
to
is
allow
he
for
not in
longer
his
time for
quarters?
rap battles?
Our future king wants a
And
battle-hardened
thinking English
heir.
as a second language and folks
Time
with
proves his
dyslexia. Now,
worth.
you can
Don't you
choose your language for spoken language and for language text, so that's kind of how they get around that one. But as far as dyslexia and things like that, I don't think so. Okay, Wolf worried about secession already. Can this boy even fight? This is a bad idea. This is a bad idea.
Throwing a boy who stinks of fear to a pack of wolves is not the best way to train him. Are you sure that's what Ceolwulf wants?
He left it open.
There
for
are other,
interpretation.
there is a future Assassin's Creed kind of thing going on. There's a overarching
comes
larger story
with
that does
us.
have a couple little moments.
And should
And apparently at the
anything
end of the
happen to
game,
this
they kind
close
of
I
move
will
the story
bear the
forward a little further
punishment
as
our
well.
future
But it
king
is not
inflicts.
front and center. It's
They'll
definitely
want to remove
Ivor's
your
story.
head.
Haha, you hear that, boy? You die, and I'll have to kill your father, too.
So this is an interesting question from, yet again, from Loki. Man, you're bringing out some good questions today. I like these, man. So he asks, is it true that the Vikings would capture and enslave monks in order to, sorry about that, in order for them to write for them? So build up legends and send messages and that sort of things. What would usually happen after then? So yeah, slave taking is very common during this period, especially for the ones based out of the Kingdom of the Isles, which is going to be Ireland and Isle of Man, things like that, the Hebrides. And Ivar, by the way, theoretically, based on a lot of research, is from that area. There was a Viking warlord, roughly of that same name, that they suspect probably inspired the legend, or may have been Ivar, because he goes on to basically die. He's only in England for a short period, then goes back to Ireland. So there is some historical precedent for that particular character, anyway. But yeah, one of their big things and one of their big, basically, markets was slaves, thralls. And so they would go, they would capture people of value, and then they would sell them off again. Viking society is sort of interesting in that, you know, it's not like an inherited thing, so it's not like a child born into it would be as well. There is some ability to work it off. There is some, like, joining in with the clan later. It's very much a fluid sort of position. Now, the monks especially, the ability to write is not common in this era at all, to say the least, and mass literacy is not common until educational systems really come back again about 50 or 60 years after this. That's actually one of the reasons Alfred the Great is considered the Great, is he brought education back to England. There was no formalized education system, no universities, no centers of learning, and so things like reading were at an all-time low. So the ability to do that is especially useful. Now, they weren't having them write down their sagas for the most part, but the ability to intercept and read messages, yes, very much so. The only, like, there are histories that we still kind of have today, but they're all English histories for the most part. You know, things that are written by monks sort of chronicling what's happening in that area. Very few survive from the Viking perspective. Most of that's going to be much later, sort of like these vocal sagas that have been written down by later skalds, you know, later poets have been written down and recorded what these stories were.
I cannot imagine the
Let's see about that.
Your first battle is coming,
Yeah, a
young
good example
children.
of something from this period is the Beowulf. The poem Beowulf comes from roughly this exact same time, and it's definitely of a Danish origin. But when it was written down, it was basically a heavily Christianized version, where they're sort of leaning more into different aspects than what the original tellers may have believed. So even though monks would have been writing things down, and monks were frequently used as sort of the record keepers and scribes of various courts, because maybe there'd be one or two people in the entire court that could read and write. Kings mostly couldn't, because they're warlords. They'd get to the top because they were super smart. Got to the top because they were big guys that crushed a lot of skulls. Exception yet again, though, Alfred the Great, who we have not met yet, and I'm rather excited to see later on in this game. If you've seen The Last Kingdom or Vikings, you know who I'm talking about right here.
Is that what you mean?
Right again.
Fascinating. The harmony between our words and yours is quite something. As if we were
what would happen after then? I mean, oftentimes they'd be absorbed back into the court. Sometimes they would be traded, just like modern, prisoners of war. Oh, we want to do a peace treaty with you, but we really need that monk back. That kind of thing. They're bargaining chips like anything else, I would say. Your little wandering bands of roadside patrols, not actually that uncommon. That's one of the things that especially became much more prevalent as the era goes on. Roving bands of, brigands and things like that have always been a problem on the roads. And so one of the main duties of local lords was to have patrols, and these guys would go out and patrol the main roads, and that is a boar. That's a big pig, too, man. Woof. I'm gonna fight him. You ever seen a boar, you're like, man, that's gonna mess you up. Somebody tried to attack me right there. Yeah, Witcher 3 is a very, very accurate comparison, Face Puncher. It feels like Witcher 3. They definitely are going for a Witcher 3 vibe. The way the skills work, the way the combat works. All very Witcher 3. I haven't encountered monsters from the north yet. That's not true. I encountered Fenrir earlier in the game, so Fenrir at least has shown up. Now, the other ones I don't know yet. There is some, basically you can take mushrooms and, trip balls, and then you can see Norse stuff. So I haven't done that yet, so I'm excited to do so. But Ivor definitely believes in these things, and so you encounter them.
Pagan rats. Ravenous, unseemly beasts teeming over holy ground.
Have a care, Lord. These pagan rats outnumber us.
I can see that, fool.
So that's some interesting Centurion-style armor.
I advise we strongly consider their demands, Lord. We won't survive a fight.
Is that you, Leofrid? How quickly you recover! I'm beginning to wonder if it is a man or a god beneath all that armor.
A man of God stands before you, Ivar. Proud and resolute.
That's Burgred's war thing.
So there are some improvements to the horse in this game. There's actually a horse stable you can build back on your own little base right there. And the things that you can do, I know for a fact for the horse, is you can increase its stamina through upgrades. Increase stamina, increase speed, it can swim in water, you can change its barding, things like that. But like I said, it's a little building you have to unlock back in your base
With or
town.
without your head attached.
It's a nasty squad.
I admire your ambition, pagan. But what you ask is impossible. No Dane ever has or ever will occupy Mercia's sacred
I love how they found the most
throne.
petulant actor possible to play Burgred right there. You have Beowulf. Well,
Would you settle for a Norse? We're not as gentle, but we're much better poets.
so you'll notice even among the army here, there's a discrepancy between the Norse and the Danes, at
You're
least
all
on
the
their
same
side.
to me, all godless.
My king.
Which is sort of fun, because you'll notice a difference in accents as well.
I grow weary of this palaver. You have trampled our lands, toppled our monuments. We've given you silver, fed your people. And yet in spite of all this, your encroachment on my kingdom continues. No more! We will die defending what is ours, whatsoever the cost. If you want my crown, Uber Ragnarsson, you must pry it from the hands of my bloodless corpse. Man the walls!
Yeah, the Assassin Order does show. We met some assassins in the first video. If you go back across the channel, you'll see them as kind of running and meeting them there. And the assassins are basically another building you can build in your little town. You'll get kind of guild missions. Is the idea there? You know, they're sending you out on missions across England and sort of do the same thing. I don't know the specifics of the upgrades for the horse. I'm not sure how much you can upgrade its physical attributes to like carrying capacity and things like that. Assassin Creed, Vikings, last king of cruise, originality. But a wooden crown. It's not a wooden crown. It's a very thin, looks to be either bronze crown or something like that, especially with the purple inlay I noticed. They're definitely going for an older style, like, you know, instead of having the high points and stuff like that, just like sort of a simple band. Inside castle, dude. It's going to take some time. Yeah, Vikings were not known for their siegecraft, interestingly. Good at many things, but in generally they'd either surprise attack or overwhelm a town, but like the ability to really do collective sieges was not really something they did. Like, they would surround places and starve them out, but generally, you know, catapults, trebuchets, like large siege machines were a bit out of their league.
First one to board Red gets to string him up by his dangly man-wattle, then jab him in his fat head.
Let's get through these walls first, Ivar.
Charming character right here, by the way. Just absolutely charming, this Ivar. Yeah, they think that one of the ways that this character would have been named the Boneless is possibly later on in life he may have had some sort of wasting disease. You know, something like gout, something like that would have rendered him unable to walk. So it may not have been a permanent condition throughout his entire life, is what people often suspect, especially to become so prominent of a Viking leader. In the later stories, you know, adapted this and expounded upon it. Hey there, Fancy Pants. How are you?
Like my way.
Yep. You look like a guy that's going to die, let's be honest. Ooh, nice sword, though. So this is actually pretty accurate to the period. So you can see that lobed pommel up on top right there. And basic, although the blade seems to have like bifurcated, like a weird, like, normally they're sort of flat, or they have a hollow sort of trough in the middle, a fuller. This one's like diamond shaped, so that's a little late for that period, but whatever.
Who are you?
I'm with the Ragnarsons. It's time to roll out the battering ram.
Birgrid wanted to fight. Now we'll give him one. Are you ready to march now?
Yeah, sure.
Let's go. It's time to capture a kingdom.
Gout is a rich man disease.
What are we going to do about
yeah.
him?
Interestingly, there was also some belief that, it's not been proven, that malaria may have been much more common during this period than they let on, especially in the bogs of England and Wales and like southwest England. There's a lot of situations where people are struck almost with paralysis for periods of a time, which can be a symptom of malaria. I know later on Harold Godwinson gets a king, Major General of England, gets a very similar thing that the, you know, he goes to Wales, comes back, and starts having these problems. It sounds suspiciously like malaria, because I know, I think it was Cromwell. Cromwell ends up picking up malaria in a similar campaign in Ireland. So, you know, it's definitely something that's been around. And you don't think about what causes these things. You know, they don't just suddenly go coming into a walk. One getting themselves a liquid courage there. So in our case, we do not have, well, okay, that's not entirely true. There is a special ability where you throw an axe. I have not unlocked that ability yet, but you can throw an axe as sort of a special ability. Did they throw axes and weapons and things like that? Yes, very much so. The Francisca, which the Franks, gives the Franks their name, is a type of throwing axe. It's made specifically to kind of like bounce around and stuff. And at least at the Battle of Hastings, there's actually a depiction of these guys chunking axes. Like, you can see them flying through the air. So it's definitely a thing that people did. I love the ram. You gotta back it up. Whoop, get out of that red zone and smack it again. Luckily, I think we have a... Gotta keep ramming that door. I do love that every time you ram the door, it gets a little more busted up as well. Come on, we can do this. It's apparently relative. Okay, I gotta hold down, not just left. Yeah, somebody else grab a hold here. Right, we're gonna get a good run up this time. It's funny when you think about just like the simple physics of rams, you know. They're not exactly a difficult item to use, but man, it can be super duper effective. Let's get out of that. Man, they're a little jolly quicker about shooting me right there. Right, we're gonna push through. Alright. Run that guy over. Nice. Classic. Tamworth is one of the oldest fortresses in Mercia, by the way. It was a seat of the Mercian kings for years and years, and you'll notice that double-headed eagle right there. I don't personally feel that was likely theirs of the period. That's definitely a later Victorian invention. You know, especially the way it's designed here, but most commonly depicted for Mercia is actually a yellow cross on a yellow X on a blue field. If you ever play a Total War game, you'll see that's the most depiction of Mercia. So I was sort of surprised here to see it being a red crest like that. It just feels a little out of place. I mean, you'll notice the ram head on here. I mean, I think everybody understands the basics of ram technology with just a cart with a log on top of it. Now, they're not going to be this highly decorated, but yeah. I mean, I don't think they're going to be able to ram through a door quite the way that we're seeing right here. You don't hear about Vikings just battering down these walls all the time. I'm going to die before I manage this. Last time I managed to just go all through these and not even hit the brakes. I think that we may have an issue this time. Ooh, yeah, something got me. I was wondering, I was like, yeah, they're kind of letting me go through this one right here pretty quick. I think I might need to slow down and figure something else. Because they were definitely kind of letting me just run through those. Yeah, like running over people right here. Yeah, this is definitely sort of a bit of historic allowance right here. They got to get you inside the castle, and they're not going to let you just sit here for, you know, a year and starve them out. Ram is just a log on a, you know, bunch of rollers. You know, they're definitely sort of overplaying how effective a ram can be right here. Oh, thank goodness they gave me advanced save point. So I am using just the one axe right now. It's a little faster. So interestingly, in these sequences, they're almost automated. You know, clearly they got a little more they want us to do. The main objective here is to kind of use the ram and get to the top, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, most times when you see rams and stuff in movies and film, and even in these periods, they're going to be covered. They're going to just put like a basic shed over top of it, because you know, you'll notice the problem right here is we're being shot by arrows constantly. So, you know, that's a really easy way of getting around that. As it is, you know, you're being just exposed to constant arrow fire. You know, the withering nature of that. Nice. Got more? Oh no, they want me to kill people now. Yeah, I can do that. Hey, pikemen. Ooh, okay, hello. Didn't realize you're gonna be quite so... Man, okay. You guys are not messing around here. You know what? Let's figure something else out. This is not working. Alright. Okay, jeez Louise. I'm only getting butchered here, man. Switch back over to my Dane axe. Little hand axe has not worked for me every time I've used it. Oh, Jomsvikings. That's a fun little reference right there. So Jomsvikings were actually a Viking mercenary clan. They were based on this little island off of Denmark. And they would kind of hire themselves out to the highest bidder, and they would go around and fight for various kings. And they were called Jomsvikings. They existed until the late 900s, I think it was. And then one of the kings was like, maybe I shouldn't have a group of mercenary Vikings just out for hire on my borders all the time. You guys can either work for me or get wiped out. And they're like, oh, we're Jomsvikings. We don't have to do that. Turns out they did. They all died. But, you know, I thought they didn't have to do it. I can upgrade it. Also got this cool flail. I do love that cool flail, but it just takes forever to hit people with. Should probably do some shield and sword action for a minute. I keep dying, so let's put a little more defensive. Alright, here we go. Attack that guy from behind. Do a little stompy action. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. There we are. Alright. You guys are fighting tooth and nail. Now, these little shields that they're using, those sort of rectangular ones, are not period. They're definitely Roman inspired. In general, the art style for the Saxons seems to be sort of what I would call Roman successors. They're trying to show sort of a continuation of the style of the period here, which, I mean, wouldn't be completely unknown to them. But in general, all the shields are going to look something much more close to what Ivor's having, you know, 2.5 to 3 feet there in length. But, you know, those little triangular style shields did exist, especially up north, and I'm facing the wrong way. Hold on. Let's just fight you. Apparently I'm going to lock on you because you're really not going to, like, let me go there. This is one of these sequences that I can just keep fighting people endlessly, or I can run up the cliff and then just bugger off, because collect raspberries along the way, because I don't want to die. They call them Danes, so I thought Ivor and his bros came from Norway. Are they English generalizing, or all Vikings come from Denmark? No, and if you notice a minute ago, even in the Viking army, they see themselves, the Norse, as different from the Danes. Now, there's also the idea of the Western Norse and the Eastern Norse, like, you know, those from Denmark versus those from Norway, things like that. There's a bit of linguistic difference as well. From the English standpoint, they're all a bunch of bloody, dirty Vikings, but, you know, that's their standpoint, which is obviously not shared by the invading. Yeah, ooh, okay. And you guys seem tough here. Okay, let's do this. Skirmishers, huh? Fancy little cutty, thrusty guys. All right. Just gonna get going. Yeah, let's see. Cut and thrust that, buddy. Let's smack you a couple good times here. That's right. Haha, gotcha, parried. Ooh. Well, that was unfortunate for him. One of those big swords eventually. Yeah, you are being distracted, so I'm gonna hit you from behind.
Spill your brains. Hey,
come on. Get him while he's down. Get him while he's down. Stomp him. I'm not above fighting dirty in this game. If it gives you the option. I love the AI basically killed him. I didn't even do anything. It's commonly said the Vikings were lightly armored raiders and barely won any major land battles or sieges against a real garrison army. No, I would not call that true at all. These were serious contenders that, you know, put major places on lockdown. The Siege of Paris, which comes up in a later DLC that can be released for this game, is another great example. I mean, the entirety of France basically bent the knee and paid them a heck of a lot of money to just sort of go away. All right, this is one of my complaints about the game. This is going to be a complaint. I have very few complaints about the game. This is Tamworth. This is the capital, theoretically, of the Mercian kingdom. Now, there wasn't capital so much at the time, so much as places kings went around and slept. They didn't really sleep in one place. But this is supposed to be the nicest place they have. It is thatch. It is daubed walls. Okay, that's fine. All pretty accurate for the period, I guess. Wattle and thatch, timber beams. But when we get inside here, I'm going to show you the floor. And I don't know why this annoyed me as much as it did, but I do want to share this since, you know, you guys are all watching right now. This. Look at that floor. It's like you can actually see the cow crap and rotting meat. Like the idea that somehow the Saxons live in their own filth. But the Norse in this world have these great big oaken halls and are somehow above all this. I don't know why this interpretation bothered me so much. Like, you can see the actual exposed wood behind them right there. It's like, come on, man. Like, the Saxons are their own empire, equally, if not more so, good engineering and building. And this is what the capital of Mercia looks like, this run-down hut with, like, shredded clothing and exposed walls. I don't know. This didn't work for me, to say the least. You know, if this is a Lord's Hall, I expected something a heck of a lot nicer than this. And it just feels a little... It feels a little bit like they're going for the superiority of the Viking. Oh, this was the superior culture, that's why they won, sort of thing. And I'm just not really digging on it. But, you know, like I said, this is one of the few gripes I had that when I was going through this the first time, I was like, man, what is this? Like, oh, I mean, like, it's actually pretty impressive when you look at it. Like, what? This is like a wall a child would build, you know? There's no, like, soundproofing, no weatherproofing. It's just, ugh, I don't know. It just really underplays what the Saxons were capable of. How's Roderick? Still can't believe the apple farmer is going to be an uncle, and your belly must be big by now. Ah, fancy fun letters. Right.
But bound to duty.
You saw try to pin the Ironwood Sarah wearing exciting religions, the white stone wall house. Yeah, I mean, you see these boards right here. They were definitely... Okay, interestingly, one of the ways they got around stuff like this is they would have a dugout basement, or the first floor would be above, like a cutout basement, and it'd be timbers over top of it. You know, it's possible it was a completely dirt floor, and you would have something called rushes dropped on top of it, which is a type of, like straw, basically. And, you know, that's one way of getting around something like this, is, you know, it keeps it scent down, keeps everything tramped down, but it wouldn't be muddy like that. That's just bad housekeeping. Like, no Saxon wife would dare let her friends come over and view a house like that. And she'd be mortified, embarrassed, you know, just, oh goodness. Actually, you know, it's funny, you don't see a lot of outhouses in this game now that you've mentioned it. So, you know, the concept of a place you go to poop is pretty much universal. Now you've got me curious. Is there an outhouse? Did someone think that far ahead? Because, I mean, you know, it's okay, maybe there's slop buckets, you know, the classic slop bucket. You know, you poop in it, you take it outside, somebody dumps it every morning, in which case there should be a midden pile. Those are called midden piles. It's like trash heaps. Like, even in, like, civilizations like that, you know, midden piles, like places everybody knows to take their trash, have been around forever. So there should be, like, a designated, like, we throw our crap here spot. Typically around the edge of the settlement, downwind. Oh, got another sink point. Let's go take care of that. Here's the cemetery next to the church, which looks to be Roman-style church. This is a very early church. This is one of the earliest churches because it's just a single room. It doesn't have the cross apex and all that yet. This is one of the earlier ones that would have come to the British Isles. Can I go in here? I actually really want to see what's inside. Door is locked. Find the key to unlock the door. Okay, put that at the top of the list of things to do. Let's see. I want to find that trash pile now. You guys got me really curious about the poop. Where do people poop? You know, it doesn't sound like a particularly interesting subject, but a lot of archaeologists spend their entire lives studying coprolites, which is fossilized poop, because it just tells you so much about diet and health and worms and what they're eating. I am hunting for a poop pile. Oof, that's half how I spend my life. Poop piles are just so terribly interesting. My goodness, that is a beautiful landscape, though. Alright, so I'm going to jump forward. And, ooh, here's some really expensive looking stuff. I'll take all of that, please. Yes, yes, yes. So we're looking for a midden pile. I actually feel like I ran into one when I was playing this game previously. Like somewhere at the bottom of one of these ravines where it's like, oh yeah, that's where they throw all their crap. I don't know, sort of weird now. Can't figure out where that one is. Search the keep for hints of the king's whereabouts. Now they want me to go somewhere. And keep searching. Yeah. Doing a good job of hiding their poop here. Let's see. Feel like here's the biggest cliff, so I would personally chuck it over the highest place I could, because it would be funny to watch it fall and go splat at the bottom. Let's see if I had the same idea that other people did. No. Interesting. Yeah, I guess in this world people just don't poop. It's alright though. Interesting little oversight. I'm sure I'll write that into Ubisoft HR and they'll just get right on that. Add outhouses. People need places to poop. Patch notes 1.01. Alright. Wants me to go back in here and search the keep for hints of the whereabouts of the king. Fun fact, the term graveyard is often used interchangeably with cemetery, but a graveyard primarily refers to a burial ground within a churchyard. Okay, so the cemetery does not have to be attached to a church in that case? Is that what you're saying? But graveyards are always attached to churches? Brothers, an attack is soon. Oh man, there is a snitch. Ceolwulf is his name. The Ragnarsons are speaking with him. Get ready for an attack. There's a snitch.
Chronicle of payments made.
Oh goodness, that's gonna be a problem. gotta figure out who that snitch was. Because snitches get stitches. Well-known fact. I mean, that man is basking.
I found a letter. There's a symbol here. Your men have any luck?
Nothing. You?
This. Do you know that symbol?
Tana's sigil. It seems she's been dealing with Burgred as well. The wretch.
She was the mercenary barking at you in Repton, yes? She's playing both sides of this war.
She could have told him anything. Told him secrets about me, about Repton, our plans.
Why bother with all this pageantry? Fashion a new crown and stick it on your melon. There you have it. You're the new king.
That is not how it works. Not in Mercia.
Do we really need Burgred? Do we really, though?
You have Tamworth. Burgred's on the run. You're the king in all but name.
It won't matter. So long as Burgred is free, the people will call him king.
Wars was in Ireland, when they were considered cowardly for pagans, when they were talking such as Caterball. Right, so interesting, as you point out right there, the Vikings in Ireland kind of have a different rap. So instead of, they were kind of, so cities like Dublin were founded by, or taken over by Vikings during this period. They're sort of what they call long ports. You know, there's the idea of these Vikings sort of rolled up and they kind of claimed the area. And they worked sometimes for, sometimes against, sometimes alongside the kings of Ireland to kind of claim their own little area.
I will join the brothers.
The Irish in general sort of just made anyone out to be cowardly or not honorable that would not, you know, that's the enemy. That's pretty fairly common for any person fighting against a foe, so sort of demonize them. You know, the enemy is both weak and strong at the same time somehow. And especially in Ireland, it was very much about conquest and land grabbing. And, you know, the Vikings were pretty good at it, and it took a couple hundred years to really sort that out the rest of the way. By the way, can you... In that case, I was actually getting myself a large thing of water, but thank you. Funny thing about talking for this long, you get really parched. Regroup with Sigurd very, very far away. Man, that is far away. I guess that's her fortress over there. Did I do a fast travel point for that one? Nope. That's it right there along the way. Care to discuss the ongoing hostilities with the rest of the great warriors? Yeah, it's definitely, you can tell... Yeah, it's still weird to me they went with that, like late Victorian emblem versus the recognized flag of Mercia. That is still odd to me. I do wonder why that choice was made. Maybe there's something we're going to encounter here in a little bit that looks too similar, and so they felt it was necessary to, you know, have a discrepancy between them. Yeah, actually, I stream for my work as well during the day, and so I've been talking for probably about 8 hours straight today at this point. It's a little tiring to say the least, but I really, really wanted to play this game, and a lot of people asked, hey, well, if you're going to play it, make sure to stream it for us. So I felt the need to stream it, because people asked. And I'm a bit of a chump for that, apparently. New fast travel point has been added to the world. So yeah, they're very generous with fast travel points in this game, because they know it's so large that you're going to need places to fast travel from. So this is the port that would have been attached to Tamworth. And this is an interesting thing about pretty much all cities before the modern era. They're all on rivers, because 90% of all your trade and traffic happens along the rivers. So they make sure as best they can to be along the rivers, because everything is using those as the superhighways. So all your major, you know, it's a source of water. and source of, you know, life in the form of agriculture, and so everything sort of moves up and down these waterways. Overland by horse is far more dangerous comparatively. Majority of pitched battles. Well, I mean, it depends on what you call a pitched battle. Like a planned battle, let's see, they lost at Ashdown, and they lost again before that, but they also won previously. So, in general, the English sort of recorded their victories and not their losses, I guess would be one way to put it. So it's kind of hard to... There's some wolves nearby. Alright, wolf. Yeah. You are a big sucker, too. Oh, man, I did not see the one on the left. Clever girl. Punch a wolf in the face. Classic move. We're recreating the gray here, apparently. Need broken bottles of Jaeger for fingers. Jeez. Where'd the other wolf go? Like, I just killed that sucker. And I don't see him to loot. Because there's nothing to loot on him. What is that white dot? I think that's one of the more interesting little things you can encounter. So I'm going to take you guys over to that. Just because if it's what I think it is, it's pretty fun. Oh, man. Muldoon is such a wasted character. If you've ever read the book, he survives. It was one of the characters when I read he survived in the book. I was like, oh, man, I wish he had survived in the films. He was so interesting. I've always been a sucker for big game hunters in books and film. Though, ironically, as an adult, I have no desire to be a big game hunter at all. It just, you know... So this is fun. So because Ivar believes in the gods and religion, the idea of a cursed area is possible in the game. So he feels the pall that has dropped over it, and you can just see like the darkness and stuff in this lake. I really love that. You can see the blood-stained letter. Here I craft a curse upon the Danes, and they obviously went over here and then sacrificed a horse by cutting open its throat. And then later on, wolves and stuff came and feasted on it, which is such interesting details. And afterwards, they put up its innards, and they made a fetish from it, which then hangs from the trees right there. And the only way to get rid of it is to, you know, destroy the cursed symbol. But I love that that's in the game. So the white dots, like I said, are really fun little items like that, these little side quests. I just thought that was really cool the first time I encountered it here. I was like, man, that's interesting. You know, the idea of laying curses upon other people. It's something we don't really do. You know, you curse someone, you know, blank you, man. But to like try and invoke the power of the gods to really mess up somebody's life isn't really a thing anymore. But I mean, especially during this period, even before, even more so, it was very common. If you ever go to Bath in the UK, there's a lot of scrolls that were written onto lead and then tossed into the healing waters there, and it was like a natural spring that they sort of revered, and a lot of them are curses. It's like, you know, screw the lady next door, she stole my shoes and I want you to curse her, you know, I beseech you. You know, it's really they took a lot of time and effort to try and curse their neighbors for like really minor things a lot of times, which is the guy a big kick out of. What is that? Are you a traveler? You're
Keep going, you.
I don't even know what you were doing. You just sound like a jerk. Someone's going to stab you. Oh, you had a prisoner.
You have my thanks, Ravenbearer.
Oh, well, that worked out well for everyone. I mean, not you. You're dead. But, man. Let's see. I just want to find a fun place for you. We're just going to leave you right up there for the birds. That sounds fun. You deserve that. A feast for crows. Yeah, as far as noobs guides and stuff like that, I'm writing a couple right now, trying to, you know, plan ahead in the future, like figuring out what I want to write, what I want to don't, you know, just trying to get a little ahead on that sort of stuff. I've been working on a video for Troy recently, and I keep hitting roadblocks writing it, and it's just sort of like, man, there are so many interesting videos I could make right now coming out towards Christmas time, as far as like gift videos and things like that, and like and it's just like I find it really hard to keep myself excited about that video right now, because the excitement for Total War Saga Troy is so low, just so low. Scouting report: Saul Ragnarsson troop was caught surveying Tamworth. How'd that work out for you, boys? Oh, what I'm working on as far as spoilers go? Yeah, hell no. No. Nah, not right now. I am playing a competition, though, that I've been working in conjunction with CA with for the last week. Now, it's not official yet, but I'm working on a video to announce that coming up probably next week or so. So if you happen to be one of the 40 people watching the stream, you're aware this is coming down the pipe, because it's not a secret. But I'm actually going to do a film competition, a little short film competition for Total War. The DLC is, coming out sometime next month or two here, and so I was like, hey, it'd be really cool if we did some sort of film competition and try to get, people involved in the community that don't normally do so. So I've asked a lot of the bigger names, well, not bigger names necessarily, but, some names that I know well and I like hanging out with to help judge the competition and kind of, encourage people to join in. So hopefully there's some cool stuff that comes from that. I like to encourage people to take part and make cool things. Man, this is an actual fence. You cannot climb this. Can you climb this? Jeez Louise, pal. No. Regroup. I don't think I'm supposed to sneak in here. I think I'm supposed to go around. Before I go in and start shanking everyone, there's, let's see if we can find the correct way of doing this. I don't believe that's it. Yeah, it's, as Oof pointed out right there, he's saying, thank you, he finds interesting the history I put in. Yeah, I treat him the same way. It's the exact same process for me. It's read as much as you can, find as many sources as you can, find the sources that seem the most likely, narrow it down from there, and then sort of tell the story. Doesn't matter if it's fantasy or history or anything in between. It's all the same basic research process. So for me, it's using skills I already have, and I've really enjoyed kind of the transition between the two, especially not well-written fantasy necessarily, but well-documented fantasy with a good, healthy backstory that you can really delve into. That's got years and years of content. Like Warhammer, he gives you that same kind of thing where there's 5-6 editions you have to go through to try and get all the information.
Just the two of us. Ivar and Ubba will wait here. Better if Tomna thinks we've come alone. The truth is, I don't think any of us can stop Ivar from cleaving her head open. It's all he was spewing the whole way over here.
Right. Shall we?
The idea of Ivar as a hothead. Yeah, they definitely doubled down on Ivar the hothead in this one, but not Ivar the strategist, which I do find kind of odd, because that's what he was really known for. Being a really clever but cruel guy.
Ubba used her for man and information. But that relationship soured now that Burgred is all but defeated. From what I heard, Tana has hunger for two things. Soft silver and a stern hump. Neither of which earns you true loyalty.
That's,
if she can't be trusted, what use is she?
Interesting little critique to give someone.
We may be able to satisfy her.
And if we can't?
Ivar did tell you to bring your axe.
And here they are, as expected.
If she takes a liking to you, keep talking.
Okay, so flirt with her. Got it. Let's see how that works out.
What brings you strolling into my camp this brisk day?
I suspect you already know.
Yes. The Embers on the air betrayed you. And yet, if you are here talking to me,
that is
King
a
Burgred remains
big lady. Like,
and who are
I'm like, man.
Want to put your ass on my lap?
Oof, that's concerning. Don't call me that. I'll pass. Let's get to the point. So much for flirting with her, bud. I'll pass. Let's try and do it tactfully, shall we?
Where is King Burgred? That is what you want.
Not exactly a master of conversation, this Ivar.
We found letters, records of trade. The two of you have a history.
What can I say? The king pays well for my services. If only I could say the same for those two Ragnarson clods.
You're dealing with me now, and I want to know what you know. Name your price.
Very well. I could use another cow. And you can cover the cost.
Okay, 520 pieces of silver there is a really freaking expensive cow. But because we've done 2 flighting challenges, we have a personality of 2. And apparently we have a second option now, which is half, because we can talk her into that. So those flighting challenges and stuff do have an RPG-esque mechanic that allows you to kind of change what you're experiencing in the game, which is very cool. I like that. It's subtle. I mean, it's not as in-depth as something like, you know, Fallout New Vegas or Outer Wilds, but, you know, it does, you know, kind of spice it up a little bit, gives you a bit of a different change in there.
Paid me to steer the Ragnarsons clear of 2 areas, Ledechestre and Temple Brochfort. It was a hefty amount. If I were you, that's where I'd look. And that is all I know. Not more, not less. We are done here.
Oh, just like that, we're done here, are we? Jeez.
Been
Been dismissed.
Do you know these places?
I don't, but the brothers will. I'll bring this news to them. Don't stay around here too long. We've got a king to catch.
Let's see, where was the key last time? I need to go find the key here. So, there is... Oh man, I guess assassinate you, just shank you right away, huh? Can I shank you? Is that an option here? Just walk up and stabby stab? Oh, I can. Ooh, I can steal from her. Ooh, I got some silver off her and everything. Man, that is exciting. Can I talk to you? An option to just talk to you? What happens? Do I talk
Watch
to you?
yourself, lovely dove.
I don't trust the fact that it says assassinate all of you right now. I feel like I'm just accidentally going to shank you.
Turn around, Dame. Don't stick your nose where it doesn't belong.
You know what?
Hey!
Don't know what that accomplished, but it made me feel better. Right, so here appears to be a door. This door is locked. I must find the key to unlock the door. Right, so let's call our bird. See what the bird says. Got anything up here useful? Well, they didn't like that. Last time I had to fight my way through here as well, so I kind of figured I had as well. So might as well get to killing. Shanky, shank, shank. All those gold things mean there's like fancy treasure around here. Am I hiding? Can you see me right now? Oh, hello. That looks like a fun place to go. Any place that's locked, I want in. The Viking way. Alright, what do we got here? Loot. Loot. Supplies, silver, nothing else exciting. Open the door. Am I over here? Sorry, it's over here. Yep, oh, there they are. Let's see if I can sneak up on him. Sneaky stab. Ready for this? Boom. Stealth. No, that was not stealth. That did not get the option of RV like I thought I would. Ooh, hi there. Haha, shield. Your 2 axes are useless against a shield. Amazing. It's almost like double axes were not particularly useful in history. I do not want to carry him. I want to loot him. That's fine. This will work too. Aim and throw. Ha! That's a heck of a toss. That guy was not light. Wolves. Yes, be free! How about you? You guys seem like you're hungry. Can you guys go kill, like, other people that are not me? I mean, that's legit, right? Oh, nope, you guys just gonna hover over top of me. Well, this plan did not go as, quite like I thought it would, I'm gonna be honest. I kind of expected other people to keep attacking me. And instead, I'm now surrounded by wolves. But, you know what? There's a way out of this. Which is, just keep dodging, and, oh, hey, look, there's a key in there. Well, that's good. Whoop. I Actually, can I lead the wolves in here? Is that a thing I can do? Yep, I can. Good. Stomp a guy in his own bed. Oh, what a way to go. Poor guy. Scenes Repton's insides. Collect a key. Hey Wolf, what's up? Oh man, that is a puma! Were there mountain lions in England? I don't know if that's accurate or not. I can't, that is a while ago. Ooh, lovely mammoth tusks right there, I love that. So, yes, please, fight each other. It's great. Everybody's like, hey, nope. I want you to fight the cougar. Right, not me. This is way more interesting if you fight wild animals for my amusement. I want to say I'm spoiling thing for myself. Just wanted to plan and say I support. Have a good one, man. Hey, man, thanks for popping in. I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing right here. This is not really spoiling anything. It's just me using animals to attack people with, which I find infinitely amusing. So, yes. Let's see how you fare against a cougar and a wolf. Thought you were hot stuff, didn't you? Until the cougar and the wolf get involved. Let's see. Wolf doesn't have much health left. And cougar ain't doing so hot either. And you dodged. Oh, wait, don't fight each other. Come on. What? I heard someone scream at me. Oh, there's more stuff up there. Huh, fun. Oh, there's a ladder. Hey, there we go. I'm not sure why a Viking camp has a cougar, several wolves and stuff just hanging out inside of it, but I do feel like that may be a health and safety issue. And I can't imagine there are many children living in this village, but oh man. That guy got stuck in there for a while. Some rattling bones. Little horn chandelier right there. Oh, hi. It's you. You kitty. Can I strangle you? Yes! Punch him so hard he dies. That is how you use your stuff. Punching cats. Alright. What am I fighting now? It's wolves again. I should never have unleashed you. This is my own fault, so I'm gonna put you guys down. I apologize. Ugh. I feel bad now. I'm killing wolves. I mean, it's like he just doesn't understand how to roam and live free again. He's domesticated. You know, he used to find a place to stretch his legs, call his own. Wander back into the wilds. Doesn't seem what's gonna happen. Right, we got my key. Let's go figure out what that goes to. Some scree. Oh, so this is an interesting thing. This is actually a very early crane. So this is somebody would stand inside of the wheel and basically walk, and as they walk and pulled, it would run the pulleys, and the pulleys attach right there, and then it would lift things. So it's just a very early crane system, which is sort of interesting to come across down here. The Romans had something really similar, and clearly that's what they're going for right here. That's why there's a lot of Romanesque statues. Just a little neat little addition down there, sort of in the bottom of this quarry. So there's a crane of some kind. Interesting stuff. For a treasure chamber. Ooh, huntsman helm. Some rattling bones and all that. That should be pretty good. You loot pieces of the same armor set. Read its description on the page details. Fun. And this game, the cool thing about it is this is something returning from a previous game. Letter from Ivar. Bet you're ordering your daft demands to make him red in the bars. Might be purple by the time you reach you. That does not make it clear enough. I'll speak plainly. We pay you in wares. Burgred's weregeld belongs to us. Don't like it? Bring your sagging cow udders to Repton and flail them about. Wow. By the way, if this letter reeks of piss, it is because I pissed upon it. Really classy guy, that Ivor. And this is the cool thing in all these books of knowledge. So you can unlock new abilities, like a raven distraction, which I have no idea what that is. It is... Let's take a look at it. Assign. Use your raven, Sinan, to briefly distract your enemies. So basically bird to the face. Yeah, that'd be distracting for most people, I would say. I think I have some new skills. So one of the cool things is you can reset your abilities really quick in this one. So they said, as best as you can, try and unlock new pathways quickly, because that way you can see what it is you're missing out on. So in this case, let's see what's up and to the left. Can I not acquire that one? Oh, I gotta acquire this one first is the issue. Like I should have known that. It's like this should reveal what's up and left now. And what is that? Light bow combo, fun. Some more health and ability damage. Because you can respec into each pathway as you go. What is this? Adrenaline slot. Okay. Berserkers Metal. Fight with reckless abandon. A partially full adrenaline slot will not be affected by an enemy's first strike. Alright, cool. Interesting stuff here. So there's a lot of different pathways you can take. You'll notice as they all sort of wrap and warp and move around here. A lot of different things you can sort of move into. So I kind of took the long way around here. But we'll just keep kind of researching around. So there's just so many different little things you can unlock here. Clearly you think you're going to be playing this for a while, which is really cool. Alright, and we got a new helmet. Let's see what its stats are. 22 armor. Weight. Increases rain damage when hitting enemies further than 20 meters away. Additional increase to speed. Increase speed when taking damage until you heal yourself. Additional attack armor. Can I not put it on? I wonder why. What's going on with that? Let me try that again. That was a little odd. Change to equip. Oh, it's just because I was in like a certain mode. I think I was in the middle of making a motion. Freaked it out a little bit. Stalactites, stalagmites. This is one of those underground grotto chambers. The Romans really liked natural features and typically built a lot of temples around these natural features like this. Where, by the way, I'm going to destroy a really old Roman lift. Just wanton destruction there. You know, really like to build into grottos and caves and natural springs and things like that. They found they found the natural spirits associated with them very interesting. And so there's a lot of Roman temples built around these interesting natural features that, you know, may not be as noticeable. So, you know, they kind of just tried their best, you know, to recognize what they would see, these little god-touched areas. Is that the lady? Tana? Is there any reason not to kill Tana? I feel like if I can just... Hey, what's up, Tana? You just gonna keep looking? Whoop. Nope. Oh, yeah, you're dead. You're killable. Okay. Let's do this. Apparently we're gonna do this. Oh, that was a nice axe throw. Too bad it missed.
I am taking your head back to the Ragnarsons. That'll teach them
Golly,
to cross.
bum, you are a boss. I did not expect that somehow. I don't know why I didn't expect you to have special abilities, but you definitely do. You know what? Fighting you may have been a mistake. Come on. Nope. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. I just died with blue blood spilling on the ground. That's how you know you screw up, when you get blue blood on the ground. Man. Axe eating. Yeah. Yeah, no. Well, let's just open that door, and then she's going to just watch us kill the remaining people and then sneak back out of her town. We will come back and murder her later in her little, looks to be, pirate half-boat. Right. Let's see. What time is it right now? It's 10:30. Been streaming for about an hour and a half. Not quite as long as some other nights. Let's see if we can hit this next one up, and then we'll probably call it for the night. I think these guys are about to split us in two, as I recall. Like I said, unfortunately, I've already played this section, so it's not as fun for me as I did during the preview.
Sigurd's told us the news. Well done.
Leicester and Templebrough fought. What do you know about them?
Leicester is a large village. And Templebroch, it's an old military fort. Not much else.
Burkred could be at either one. We should check both, as soon as possible.
And what do we do with Tona? I would bet the sweat off my sack she's writing to Burkred now, offering silver for a warning about us.
Let me worry about that.
We should get moving, Drinkit. I can take the fortress at Templebroch.
I will join you, Sigurd.
That leaves me.
I just feel like I should sneak back inside and try and stab her.
Fucking lonesome.
Bring a friend, brother. Maybe Eivor dares to be called that.
Go on ahead. I'll catch up with all of you soon.
Yeah, I'll take some rations there, please. Nope, no rations for me, apparently. Yep, and that, I think, is as good a place to stop as any, because they want us to split in half. They want us to go try two different places there. And I wonder how many supplies and stuff I have. Can you see that from in here? Yep. So iron, leather, fabric, titanium. And do they just have supplies? Yep. 30 supplies, 600 supplies, 30 raw materials, and this is what we use to build our base. So he's got a bunch of stuff in here that, you know, trade goods, all sorts of things. I feel like I need to upgrade my arms and armor just because these fights are getting a little bit difficult, and I feel like I'm getting outclassed a little bit. So I'm gonna take some time to do that, I think, before I move on elsewhere. And where's that gold thing? Oh, the gold stuff. I don't know what that is. There are more white dots around here. We can sort of look to see if there's another fun quest somewhere around before I pop off for the night. Whatever that is. That's back inside Tamworth. That should be a drinking challenge, I believe. And Leicester there. Yep, I think that's where I'm going to stop for the night, just because it's as good a place as any. Oh, man, I could go up and get all the supplies and rebuild my base. Man, there's so much to do in this game. God, this game is so much fun. I'm enjoying it really far. If you guys haven't picked it up yet, I have 2 links inside my YouTube description, because it really is a heck of a good time to play with. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying the footage tonight. It's a little short, but, you know, I got to work tomorrow like most people. So I just want to try and play a little bit more if I could. But thank you guys for tuning in right here. If you have any questions or whatever, make sure to leave them in the chat. I'll try and answer them on comments, things like that, before I play again next time. And hello, sheep. I wonder if I can... apparently it's a kick from horseback. Oh, wow. You just kind of loot the sheep? Well, I just feel bad. Right, well, have yourselves a lovely evening out there, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching, and have a nice night.